Good morning. Had to restart the computer. We got the levels working now, and should be on our way to have a great day here. We'll get into it. So, a week ago, we entered bear market territory on the Nasdaq, a 20% drop from the highs. And we went on last week to have one of the strongest rallies in history, with the Nasdaq recovering basically all of the losses that it had from the beginning of the war. So that first week we had a major decline, uh, recovered a tiny bit, declined some more, and then we had continuation back to the upside last week after the Fed rate hike increase. But this morning we see some developments, and we see some rising prices in oils and commodities today. I'll give you a quick look at the Brent crude right now. I believe is over $111, 112. So that is up. That started at 8 p.m. last night, and that's kind of where I'm looking today. If I'm going to make any plays, is probably going to be if this continues or holds here or pushes above this 112 to 113, 114, 115. I think some of these oil and commodity plays are definitely worth a look this week. I'm still riding some wheat ETF calls, WEAT, and I've been down on them. So with the rising price of wheat, hopefully that could come back. Let's see where our S&P futures are. At 4,400 was a big mark last week, and once we got above that, the market really ripped. So we're sitting at the highs here, pre-market highs at least for Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange, but we'll see. I am, as I've said on here before, I am not a fan of seeing green in AMD, green in Tesla, green in Apple pre-market, green on the SPY pre-market. To me, that sets us up to drop on the intraday. So my oil stock I'm watching is U.S. Energy Group, USEG. That's what I'm watching. I got in on Friday, and it continued to decline. So I did pop up a little bit in the pre-market here. It is falling back slightly. So I'm going to keep an eye on the Brent crude price. We'll go from there. I don't think this rally holds. In my opinion, just too much uncertainty. I don't like the green pre-market to where you saw last week. Every day in pre-market last week, when we had a good day, we were down in the pre-market, and then we rallied. Down in the pre-market, rally. So I like a red pre-market. I think it sets up with, and it's really for day traders. So I think a lot of what we saw last week was one, shorts were closing. So some of the most beaten down names like Square, which went 40% last week, were the biggest gappers up on, and AMD's popping here. AMD's popping up a little bit. So, we saw some of the biggest gappers be like your SoFis, be your Squares, some of your Unity software. So some of these companies that were beaten down, you had short positions closing, and I also think you just had your normal kind of day trade setups where the day traders unanimously due to the pre-market conditions went long. We had major rallies every day. We didn't see a whole lot of selling. As far as the inflow outflow, Friday was insane. It was like $11 billion were pumped into the system on Friday, and that number in recent weeks has been billions of dollars exiting the system. So there was a fundamental change. Look for that. Now, the problem is that the same amount of money that was injected into the system last week can be pulled from the system just as quickly. And we saw some kind of crazy headlines. Hypersonic missiles, Maripol needs to surrender, or they're going to be bombed along with the refugee infiltrators. So, really, some interesting things going on. The price of oil at 8 p.m. last night gave it away to me. And the green pre-market is only solidifying my take, especially, well, the UVXY, the uncertainty, the VIX, the UVXY, that's actually kind of receded a little bit. But again, I think that just correlates with the strong pre-market we're seeing. And I don't know if this is traders FOMOing in, or if we're just, maybe the crazy rally from last week sustains. But one thing I heard was that bear market rallies tend to lead to steep declines. So we did officially hit bear market a week ago today. And Monday went down. We had last week Friday down, Monday down. And then after Monday, Tuesday was major turnaround day. And names like Square, AMD, AMD was below 100, sitting at 115, 114, 25 right now, as you see it on the screen. And so, 15, 20% moves in a week are crazy, guys. So we'll see. Bitcoin this morning sitting at 41.4. I like that. Now, I'm always ready for the market to give me the second or third option. So if everybody's thinking that the market is going to turn around, will it? I'm under the assumption that if everybody thinks it's going to go one way, it often likes to go the other. The market can make people rich, but it's a long game, guys. So, I've been preaching play the long game. Just slowly kind of average into positions. And then once these names kind of fall back into a level that you like, and you have money saved up to invest, I like AMD due to their competition in the marketplace, their actual specs compared to their competitors are really good. So they compete with Intel's CPUs, and they also make graphics processing units as well. So they compete with Intel for the CPUs, they compete with NVIDIA for the GPUs, and they're really combining those and also adding software to make it an advantage to buy all AMD products. And AMD has a lot of loyal gamers out there. So as far as just the personal computing side of things goes, I think AMD is set to keep encroaching on Intel's CPU game, and is going to keep encroaching on Intel's GPU game. And combined together, they have all of the essentials needed to keep growing revenue and dominate the computer CPU GPU market, along with some things they'll be adding like cloud software, and working with partners like Amazon and Google and Microsoft to offer cloud computing. So and it's doing crazy volume, guys. I mean, this lagged some other things like a Square last week, but I contribute that to shorts closing on speculative names like SoFi, like Square. So, Costco did really, really well on Friday. But we'll see. We'll see where the bonds go this week. I know that was what's crazy about the rally last week is, we had the yield curve going inverted. The fives, the twos and fives were going above the tens, and so just insane moves we had last week with the inverted yield curve. So bunch of crazy stuff. I still like Square. I love Square. I'm not going to try to buy it at 145. I hope we drop some more so I can get some more stocks of AMD, of Square. So tune in. Let's meditate this morning if you haven't already. Kind of just tune in with yourself. Tune in with your surroundings. And you'll be able to handle anything that comes your way. Time in the market is more important than timing the market. So again, don't chase, just tune in and let's see what happens this week. If you got in Monday or Tuesday of last week, that was a great time to get into some of these names. I think you could wait till AMD comes down below 110. I'm hoping Square kind of trickles back down below 125 here, but Square was just on a heater last week. It was insane. So, Square was down below $100 and is now above $140. So, absolutely insane move. Again, careful with the green pre-market here, guys. I'm watching some names like U.S. Energy. Sea Change was an interesting stock that I found. It's trading at about $1.50 right now, and they recently, but a couple months ago, announced a acquisition and a merger with Triller, which, according to the internet, Triller is supposed to be a TikTok alternative. And pretty soon now, the Sea Change ticker, SEAC, will be changing to ILLR, ILLR, to represent the merger of Sea Change, which is a cloud computing business, does well by themselves, along with Triller, a video app software comparable to a TikTok. Why this isn't pulling up here. So, SEAC. So, we'll see. I took a really, really small position in Sea Change, and I'm kind of just hoping we get some news this week. If it breaks below, it's at 142 right now. If it breaks below like a 140, it hadn't been doing a whole lot of volume. So don't trade this. Not a recommendation. It's just a very, very small position I took on kind of a lotto play here. So hopefully the internet is not acting up. But anyways, we'll continue on. I need to tune in. Let's get a little meditation going. 10 deep breaths in, 10 deep breaths out. So after the 10 exhales in and out, we're going to hold that exhale out. And then we're going to hold the following inhale in for as long as possible. And then after we've held the exhale out for as long as possible, held the inhale in as long as possible, we're going to exhale with a fire breath, a tongue out. So I like to do my Wim Hof all through my nose. And then on the final exhale, release that hot gas, that hot air, that carbon dioxide out of the body through a open mouth, tongue out, fire breath. So tune in. Wake up some of the dormant cells in the body. Move around, slap around, guys. Beat the chest. Wake these muscles up. Wake these cells that were resting up. Tap the forehead. Tap the temples. Tap the cheekbones. Tap the jawbones. Tap the glands. Now relax. Relax the face muscles. Relax the eyeballs. Let any thoughts come and go. You'll deal with them as they come to you. Recognize them. Can't ignore thoughts that come into the brain. Recognize them. Be aware of them. Do you guys know that your body completely renews all of its cells in 3 to 4 weeks? So as you're going through spring changes, guys, it's it's okay to have allergies. It's okay to have sinuses and stuffy noses. Your body's going through changes. You're excreting shit that you don't need, and you're making new cells. So especially during these season changes is a great time to make sure you're feeding your body right. Make sure you're putting good foods in. Make sure you're drinking lots of water. Make sure, even if you're doing very minimal exercise, try to break a sweat. Try to move the body for 30, 45 minutes a day. And put good things in, especially as you're going through these season changes. Your body is changing. It is getting rid of dead, dormant cells, and it is replacing new cells. And this is crazy how your body can just take a couple proteins, and it's really your DNA. Your DNA is a freaking miracle, guys. The fact that your DNA can encode a cell, an RNA, to go gather a bunch of proteins. And like, let's say you have a cut on your hand. Let's say you picked a hangnail on your finger. Your brain, God, it's an unknowable process of how your DNA encodes a RNA to go gather, which the RNA is a messenger DNA essentially. It's the DNA writes this RNA, this messenger code, to go gather a bunch of proteins that your skin organ would need to repair this little patch right here on my hangnail, which is insane how that could happen. And this is all too perfect of a system to be an accident. And if we're here, if we're awake this morning, we're blessed. Amen. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week. Again, we had a bear market a week ago. We entered 20% down off the Nasdaq highs, and we had one of the strongest week-long rallies after hitting the bear market on Monday. So careful out there. Don't go chasing these prices. I would be if you like AMD, which I do, if you like any stock, because that's always my advice, is invest in something that you like, that you use, that you know is going to be a safe investment for the next 5 to 10 years. Like pick a company like Apple that you know is going to be around in 5 years, and time in the game is going to be better than timing the game. So get in and play, guys. It's you know, it can't hurt. You don't lose money unless you sell. So, but again, we just had a bear market Monday into one of the best week-long rallies we've ever had amid a global trade war in talks of fucking hypersonic missiles. So, along with rising oil price from last night and this morning, rising wheat, fertilizer prices going up. So, who the fuck's going to harvest these wheat fields in Ukraine, guys? You know, the boats aren't coming in and out of the port of the Black Sea right now. Or excuse me, there's one strait that the boats all get in and out of through the Black Sea, and that strait is blocked, I believe. And I think I saw last week somebody from the UN Security Council was talking about 47 ships stuck on the Ukrainian ports. So I think these commodity prices are going to keep going up, guys, as trade just continues to kind of flounder and falter. Again, green pre-market, be careful. When we saw some of these crazy rallies last week, we were red pre-market, which is set up for A, shorts closing last week, and B, was your normal kind of day trading volume. Now, we may have had some institutional buying, especially on Friday when we had crazy rally like we did. But the same money that went in the market last week can be pulled from the market just as quick. So be careful out there. As soon as fast as these things go up, they can come down just as fast. So don't chase anything, and just do some research. If there's something that I can do some research on, or I can look at a little closer, find me on Twitter, leave a comment on these videos, and I'll gladly look at some stocks that you like. We did see a good bounce with some of our gambling stocks last week, and I think that was a great play last week because of March Madness, all the hype we had around that, plus sports betting is a great bump. Plus, I think some of these stocks like DraftKings, I think was one that I was talking about, like Square, that was just absolutely kind of beaten down to an extent, and it had a nice recovery last week. So I don't know why my charts in my computer is going slow, but it is what it is. Take my word for it, I guess. I'm trying to show you a chart to explain the bounce that we had in DraftKings last week, but chart ain't gonna load. Now I'm down in the living room today. I do have on the TV behind me a scanner, so I'm just trying to see what's popping up on volume. A lot of your oil and energy stocks are kind of popping up on volume today as Brent crude is over like 113 a barrel, and our wheat futures are up as well. And these are just on. So Brent crude dropped a dollar from its 113 high a few minutes ago. So it's good to see these commodity prices drop a little bit. I think that could take out some of the uncertainty around inflation. But again, 112 is a crazy high level for oil. And you see, this is besides this peak we had the first week of the war that hit 127, we're at the highest that this has been in a week. So this is, I know Europe is going to be a little more concerned about this. Let's see what the let me just check the E-mini before we before we move on to take a look at what Europe is doing this morning. I mean, again, we're at a pretty high spot for the ES here. So even up from Friday, but so we'll see. I mean, that's a top spike. That's good, but again, I think that just sets up, even in the futures market, I think that's just setting up for room to the downside. You know, just like these set up where they're green pre-market. Now, Costco can trade a little different, but you know, Tesla green pre-market, AMD green pre-market, Apple green pre-market, SPY green pre-market. To me, this just sets up for room to the downside. But that's my opinion. We'll see how the theory plays out. You know, that's just a theory I've been working on, where red pre-market presents buying opportunities, green pre-market is going to present good selling opportunities or good opportunities to go short for day traders. But let's see how it plays out. You know, that's just something that I like to look at and that pops into my head when I'm looking at a pre-market. Let's look at the globe. Global. What time we got? 7:45. We'll go on for about 10 more minutes, and it's a Monday. We got to get after work this week. We got to make some money, especially with, you know, hopefully we'll get some good buying deals again this week. You know, hopefully we'll get some below 100 on Square, below 100 on AMD, so we can smash buy longs. But I wouldn't chase any of these prices today. And if you do, I'd be thinking either super short-term trades or careful and understand that you'll have to probably hold something very long if you're not going to just look for an in and out entry exit of this market. We'll see. Freaking AT&T only offers 50 megahertz or megawatts Wi-Fi in my area, and it's bullshit. I've signed up to get fiber optics, so we'll see. I'm trying to get some better internet in here because you know, I can't even barely have a phone, an Xbox, and a computer running and stream to YouTube. So it's ridiculous. But let's see what the Euro markets are doing. Euro is up. Europe is up. Ever so slightly, but hey, the Euro markets are up. That's often a sign in the morning. I know Euro market closes around 11:30 Eastern, so sometimes you can get a little extra volatility around our 11:30 Eastern time. With that Euro market close, you know, let's say the Euro market closes on a crazy down wick. Sometimes that can also bring some volatility to our markets. So just something to keep an eye on, you know, and something in the morning along with the futures that you can check. The futures are going to be your ES mini, your ES and NQ. I can't trade futures on Webull, so it doesn't even allow me to look at the charts, which I don't love. I really just like Webull for the ability to trade on the go here, to where I don't know if some of you guys are busy out and about, maybe on the road during the day in sales jobs. Hopefully you're at home. You know, a lot of people are working from home these days, so you know, they can have a computer off to the side, or you know, at least have maybe some headlines up to look at some potential things to trade. But if I'm on the go, I'm looking for headlines, and I'm looking for ease of access to trade. I just started a new long-term account on TD Ameritrade. and only bought a few shares of AMD, but that's the account I'm probably going to continue putting. Uh, when AMD is at a good buy level, I'm going to continue purchasing shares of AMD over a 5-year time frame. And I think I'm going to target below like the 110 area. So let's say next month I was to have, a couple $100 to invest in, and after paying rent and car payments, I got a couple $100 to invest. I've got my groceries, so um, I, I'm not going to chase AMD buying it at 115 to 125. I really want to below 110 again. If we go 2 or 3 months from now and the stock market rebounds and I think below 125 is still a good price for AMD, we'll assess it at that point in time. But, if I was to get paid this Friday and had some extra money to invest, I'm right now I'm looking for the 100 to 110 level for AMD. And then Square is probably the second closest. Square is probably the second stock I'm looking at to potentially invest long term. I think it's crazy to think about how economies could operate locally these days, especially with how easy digital payment solutions are. Um, it I see a lot of local businesses here that Square supports. Square has Cash App as well, which you can invest in stocks and cryptos on. And I just really like the Square CEO, Jack Dorsey. I think he um, is going to continue to innovate in the big Bitcoin space, as well as what Square does, which is a third-party payment software solution company for small businesses, is great because as we get now, the hope is that we become decentralized from a central government, and a central government, a central monetary body like a bank, like a Visa, to where you could operate a local economy through a cell phone network, and it's becoming easy to do. So, I just support your local farmers, support your local truckers. Um, I'm excited. Here in Charleston, we'll have the farmers market opening back up the end of this month, or maybe first week of April. So stoked about that. Every Tuesday, the farmers market in Mount Pleasant, bunch of um, local farmers that really do well. It gets a lot of action every Tuesday night, and the weather's getting real nice here. And um, y'all hit me up. Y'all come on down to Charleston and visit me. Got a spare bedroom. Put you up for the weekend. Bring your girlfriends, bring your wives, and we can have a good time. Hit me up. Let's make it happen. All right, I'm gonna fill one more cup of coffee, and I'll be about 5 minutes left, and I'll be off to go sell some trucks. All right, so USEG is popping up there. I like it. I may try a small position here. I may try a small position here. What do you think? 642. Like we did have some, we saw some 660s in pre-market already. Um, and we finished down. So I'm watching price of oil, guys. If I think if these oil prices continue, we could see a run with some of these energy stocks. They might not be done. I would trade them real quick, be in and out, because the price of oil may go back down overnight. Depending on any new headlines we get out of the, maybe a deal with the Middle East, maybe a deal with the Saudis, or maybe, talks of peace and some of this escalation. But again, if people are fleeing Ukraine right now, um, who's going to harvest the wheat? Who's going to man the ports to fill some of these ships with oil, wheat, fertilizer, uranium? So I don't think the run on commodities is over, but just watch it. Be right back. All right, I'm gonna enjoy this cup of Joe, and then I got to go. Hope you have a great day. I do have a little better service down here than I expected, so I may have to broadcast from downstairs in my living room until I either get some AT&T fiber optics or something happens with AT&T. But I'll tell you, another interesting industry is solar. It, I don't know if you guys have had higher than expected energy bills. Uh, the past 3 months for my energy bill has been ridiculous, and I'm hearing a lot of the same across Charleston. And people are upset because you can't go use a different energy company. There's a fucking monopoly on energy, and it it don't make no sense to me that only one company can offer you energy. Because what do you do when they raise the prices like this? You can't go shop them. There's no other water or energy companies to go shop with. I don't even think I can go get Google Internet here. So I mean, what do I do you know, if I don't like AT&T? But you know, you know, hey, the live stream's coming in fast, and like and subscribe to video. Love you guys. So I was looking into AMD's products over the weekend, and I was just kind of watching some YouTubers, some pretty savvy and seem to be knowledgeable. Of course, you don't know who these people are, but seem to be knowledgeable as far as CPUs and GPUs go. And they were big fans of AMD's new product launches. So AMD just released three high-end CPUs in a range of processing power and prices, to go from, I think the upper end was $500 CPU, and the lower end was about $300, and the middle one was about $400. So it's kind of a $300 to $500 range on CPUs. And the person reviewing it seemed to be like, I think it was on a Ryzen motherboard, and person reviewing it liked it compared to Intel's. And they were also big fans of pairing AMD's graphic processing unit to their computer processing unit, because AMD is gonna be giving better solutions to run some of these games, run some of these things at higher rates, if the AMD CPU is paired with the AMD GPU. So this is just getting into the retail sector. I think AMD has a lot of retail fans. NVIDIA obviously has its own GPU fans. NVIDIA doesn't make a CPU, to my understanding. NVIDIA just makes the graphics processing, and Intel makes a CPU that competes with AMD. So AMD competes both on the CPU side with Intel and the GPU side with NVIDIA. And I think when they combine their two CPU and GPU all in the same personal computing systems, they're offering advantages for pairing their softwares, or excuse me, their hardwares together, and offering a software that will further enhance the computational power of their CPUs and their GPUs when paired together, when using their software. So I know a lot of retail, a lot of your gamers, they really like the AMD products. And then we're also seeing AMD start to entrench upon the corporate side of business. Now, the corporate side, the business to business, is where you're going to see larger revenues come in. You can only, business to consumer is good, B2C is good, but how many billions of dollars is personal spending going to get you as a company? And the answer is not at all to the level as if you were having customers like Amazon, like Google, like Square. So Intel has a large market share of this, and AMD is further entrenching upon that. Like, I know I spoke about how Amazon is now offering the ability to use an AMD chip with their cloud software, their AWS, their Amazon Web Services platform for small businesses and large businesses. And it used to be strictly Intel. So I think we see AMD keep getting into this market share. We'll see. I mean, BBIG is on the upcoming this morning. MUL and Mulan is an EV automaker. They're still kind of ripping up this morning. So they were just freaking on fire last week. And then we see some of these oil stocks kind of creeping up. So watch for those today. Again, we had a bear market a week ago today, and then went on to have one of the strongest week-long rallies in history. So will it hold? I don't know. I don't think we go from being a bear market to all of a sudden back to all-time highs. But we could push up a little bit from here. Again, I'd either be, because the outlook, especially with war, all this talk of hypersonic warheads is a little unnerving for me. I would either be in it for the long haul, for the 5 to 10 year investment, or looking at a short in and out type of play. If you're looking short in and out, look for oil price to continue going up. And keep an eye on the price of Bitcoin. Let's see which way that goes. You know, if the market starts really falling hard and you want a decent in and out play, the Bears microsector FANG 3 times triple leveraged ETF. If the market's going south, this Bears here is going to go up, as well as the UVXY, which is our ProShares VIX ETF, and it's going to follow your uncertainty meter. So, you know, if we do start to go south, these are some names you can look long for the short term. Don't ever trade the Bears or the UVXY for a long-term investment, because stocks over time do have a pattern and a ability to go up. You know, that's the way they want to go. The most simple investing advice is pick a chart that's going to the top right and invest and hold for long enough time. That's as simple investment advice as it gets. But again, I don't like pre-markets that are green. Let's see how this theory plays out. And we'll keep this thing rolling, guys. Y'all have a great day. Tune in. Don't forget to breathe. Your perspective is the most important thing. The event's going to happen. How is it viewed? How can you look at it as a positive? How can you look at even the worst thing that can happen and say this is good? I don't know. That's for every person to look at and interpret in their own way. I just try to be a forever optimist, a forever hopeful. I like to have faith in something greater over fear of the inevitable, essentially, on this earth is my perspective. We are in a flawed system. We are on a forsaken timeline right now. And there's only one thing we can do, and that's pray to God. Pray to God. So, we got Easter coming up. Some people are on spring break. Some people are already on spring break. You got teachers, schools going on spring break. Colleges maybe coming on spring breaks. So, spring into summer, guys. Spring into summer. And let's see what happens. I'll be here every morning, hopefully on time going forward. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Time to go sell some trucks.